hold you. I want to jump into it, man. As you guys come in, you'll get the alerts or whatever. Tyrese's mother is actually right now, as we speak, in ICU because of COVID-19. And a lot of people that come from the music business, I'm just going to adjust this a little bit more for you guys, a little bit better. A lot of people that come from the music business, they know that Tyrese is held dear, from Transformers to Fast and Furious or whatever. The very first time that I ever met Tyrese myself was right here in New York City's Times Square. I was working at 1540 behind here. And yeah, it was an amazing experience, man. So Tyrese's mother, the last thing I heard is in ICU. And I don't know, I'm stunned by that. I'm just seeing now that a lot of states right now are now recommending, like I saw one state, they're recommending taking away the mask for children in school, which I think is a terrible idea. Because what I think is going to trickle into something else again. That's my prediction, you know. But I want to send on my prayers and everything like that with R&B singer, actor, Tyrese Gibson, known for Baby Boy and everything else, man. And let's hope that his mother gets well and gets well soon. Send all our love to her. I want to pick up where I left off. Guys, give me 1 second here. I know the camera's shaking. I'm trying to put my glove on as you come in. I ain't do no alerts and nothing. I just did this impromptu because sometimes I just have to speak where it comes from and then just be like that. You know, I don't like all the time trying to contrive something and make it into something. I think when you try to contrive stories and you try to make them into something they're not and bend them for views and everything like that, that's something I'm not with. So you won't see me do that here. I wanted to pick up where I left off. I was talking about relationships and where I was talking about specifically relationships involving interaction. You know, I think interaction is a big must right nowadays. We have a lot of secular ideas that are out there nowadays that are none for the less very good and vital for a lot of people, especially people of color, I think. I say this with the best energy that I possibly can, meaning that it might work for you, it may not work for me in there, you know? Tonight I was on the train, I was on the subway. And this girl, she was doing some kind of setup or sign up for something or another or whatever. It was shortly after I did the last live. And when I, this is the crazy thing, right? Whatever she was asking people to advocate or help her with or whatever, she was very vocal about doing so, this young girl, young black girl. And I was cool with that. I was actually preparing myself to actually sign on to the petition or whatever else she had with her, right? For some reason or another, when it came to her asking me, she moved past me. And I said, oh man, I would have signed it, you know? And I said, okay, well, I can only do so much as far as like putting myself out there and saying to you, if you get it or not, hey, I'm with you, I rock with you, I like you, whatever the case may be. I can only do so much when it comes to that, all right? But what I can do is at least offer my hand and say, hey, sweetheart, and this was a young black girl, so that's what really hurt me because moving into the future, she might take this attitude along with her, you know, included in relationships, romantic or otherwise. She made it apparent to me that she had skipped me on purpose. That's the part that broke my heart. I said, oh, you want me to know that this was your intention? And I said, where does that come from? Like, where does that passive-aggressive microaggressions, passive-aggressiveness and microaggressiveness, not being able to correctly articulate yourself in any other form other side of being confrontational, you know what I mean? And listen, everybody gets a little confrontational every now and then. This is what it is. But to intentionally do so, that's called a microaggression, and you're looking for a reaction, you know? And based on this reaction, you will once then, when whoever so be it come to your rescue, you will pontificate yourself as a victim. And I think this was what this young girl was trying to do, and I was just trying to ask myself, why? So I went back to earlier tonight when I did my live earlier, and I thought to myself, and I said, this is what I'm talking about, interaction, the lack of it. because of the digital media atmosphere that we have, this ecosystem that we call the internet. You know what I mean? I could get up here and I could every day, if I wanted to, put out some suggestion and some narrative of, like the red pill narrative is, men are this and stick up, which kind of sounds kind of moist and coy and muffin to me, but, be who it may. Fit, that's for you. The ultra toxic feminist movements that mean in retrospect not what Amelia Earhart in the 1880s and that whole movement meant. No, this whole, articulated BS liberal approach. And I say that full. BS, I live in a very liberal state, all right? I live in Connecticut. They don't get no more liberal than Connecticut, trust me. You know what I'm saying? This approach that people are having and pandering to nasty behavior, pandering to people that in any other state of the world, not even 10 years ago, let's say 10 years ago, not even 10 years, let's say 7 years ago, that would not have been their reaction online. I watched this earlier today when Lizzo did a caption for her new video or something like that, and she decided to do the whole thing naked. And she said, I did this because of bravery, etc., etc., etc. Let me pander to the audience and make them think I'm a victim, even though I'm not a victim. And in reality, I just got a new project coming out. Let me work it with their sympathy. Let me work the project with their sympathy. I will get up, be butt naked, explore this and show this to young girls. If I had a daughter and she saw that, there's a chances are she might try to emulate that. It don't even matter what color they are. Even they got Kim Kardashian, you know what I mean? Everybody's got somebody. The passive aggressiveness that young girl did, she did it, well, it wasn't even passive aggressive, it was microaggressive. It was directed in the narrative of, listen, I am a woman, you will command and do as I wish. It's really quite dictative and like, I don't know, this passive aggressive narcissist. There's so many different words you can use to describe it, And I try to get away from, giving subject to being like, hey, you fit this or you fit that. I try to stay away from that, but I'm seeing more and more people aren't. You know what I'm saying? More and more people aren't, and I'm seeing it's more and more women aren't, and I got to speak on that. I can't sit back and pretend like, okay, everything is normal. A lot of these girls don't even realize 10, 15 years from now, these guys are walking away now. 10 to 15 years from now, you're going to see it in the population numbers. That'll just dictate it. Trust me. That will dictate it. Marriages, everything of that. Almost every group, I think, except for Latinos, has a decrease in birth rate right now. You can check the CDC for that. And a lot of those things are effective, like I said, and I'll say it again. I come from a time still when you went to the club, and you could ask a chick to dance. You go to the club and ask a chick to dance now in 2000, well, if you can get in the club, you gotta have the damn thing. You could go to the club in 2022 and ask a chick to dance and she don't look at you like you're crazy or think you're some, freaking nut or you got some sexual suggestion behind what you're doing. There's some ulterior motive of why you're asking me something, And I explained that when I was talking about this young man that had a video out. And he was interviewing girls as they were coming out the club, right? I'm going to make all this snap, so just stay with me. He was interviewing girls as they were coming out the club, and he was asking them these very same questions. Questions like, what do you think when men do this or do that or, objectify women, blah. He was asking them pretty much PA technical questions that most people and reporters would ask, whether you're a street reporter, whether you've been with a media group, or whatever, I always take in contention that a lot of guys that are doing YouTube, they're not like me. They, what I'm saying? So it is what it is, you got to learn your bumps and curls or whatever. They don't know what to say and what not to say. That's what I mean. And some things you just have to admit, you have to put an edit on, as y'all have seen me do many of times, I'm not going to tell you everything that I saw in the music business. I'm not going to tell you, especially not for free, especially not for free, especially not for free. When I see people that have less experience and have not done anything and they're online and they're dictating narratives to you that at the end of the game don't make sense. And you guys are full funnel feeding them like from the nipple. You know what I mean? Like literally. There's no reason why we can't come to an understanding in the conversation. And I'm saying this full-heartedly for those in different tiers of African American culture, different tiers of Latin American culture as well. You know, I understand my reality and where I live is not the same as many other people. And I can identify with both. You know what I mean? I can really identify with both. You know, I've been in situations where I never thought I would have before because of the pandemic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think I covered that fully here on my channel. But there has to be some type of conversation or sit down or something between each group, male and female, within the culture immediately. You are running a risk, and I say it again, running a risk of depopulating yourselves. And you do this honestly out of lack of interaction personally. All your interaction nowadays is online. You know what I mean? As you see right behind me, it's the mid of COVID-19 and it's still, you know what I mean? So, guys, I'll tell you like this. Lack of interaction, one of the problems with lack of interaction is this. You can start to become numb when somebody actually approaches you and tries to have a conversation with you. You actually become numb now because you're so used to interacting. And this is why I said this metaverse BS is a mistake, because you're going to see it even further. Each step that you guys take away from each other, each step that you take away from having a conversation, you decide to become argumentative between how we do. And I've partaked in it too, you know. I've thrown my shots or whatever. I've been involved in it, but not to the degree and the extremities of many other people where you see somebody like Tasha K having a lawsuit put against her by Cardi B, and Cardi B winning $4 million be exact. Now we got other YouTubers out here that don't understand the dynamic of actually what happened. You don't realize Cardi B sued Tasha K. Tasha K didn't sue Cardi B, right? So you as a vlogger, me coming from the music industry and being around so many multi-millionaires for years, I can personally tell you, you are not going to win. First of all, I'll give you 9 months and you bow out. I'll give you that's 9 months with a lawyer, a paid lawyer, going in on a super lawsuit. I give you 9 months before you cap out. You'd be like, I can't do this no more. I give you 9 months. Cardi B and Tasha K, their duration of their case was mostly halted because of COVID-19 and the start of it. So, you know, let's say from a sense of words, she really didn't fight it out. It was just postponed over and over and over and over and over again. That's my prediction. If I don't know, I guarantee if I took a look at that, it would probably equate to the same thing. Unless you can wait out a case for at least 3 to 4 years, and you can afford to break out that case for 3 or 4 years, I wouldn't suggest that you go sue somebody over some frivolous BS. The judge told Tasha K to settle. I would have too, because actually the damages probably could have been more severe. You tag on a couple other things. You know, I got PTSD because of what you said, which very likely could have been. I mean, you said she had a venereal disease, you know. You said the Cardi B had a venereal disease and proved that she didn't, so now you must pay those damages. And like I said, DJ Academic, shout out to you, sir, for bringing in reality of exactly what I mean. I put up a video and you guys can see it. And I think DJ Academics pulled about 8 or 9 cars. I do this by the truck itself, that's $300,000. Tasha K probably spent $300,000 on that lawyer in the first year. And at that point, you're not trying to avoid jail. Jail's not gonna come to you. Nah, penalization is gonna come to you. So that's what she messed up with that one. It got dragged out. People got time to think. People got time to review, go back. Lawyers, defense included, prosecution included. And they made an example of it, so you're exactly right. The only thing I'm saying to you is, when you have to make announcements like that online, the atmosphere of YouTube has now changed. I'm trying to find a new home to get off of YouTube because I see where YouTube is going. Right now, they are in federal court once again. Would you say Tasha K did listen to the judge? Plus, she had whack lawyers. She, you know, I don't know the history of her lawyers. But I know the one lawyer, Mr. Dennis, I think his name is Dennis Curie or something like that. I put up one of his videos on my page here, whatever. It did well. But I put up a clip when he was actually at the trial down there. I think it was in Atlanta, right? And he was actually at the trial. Dennis something. I don't want to say his name wrong, but shout out to you, sir. He's an older gentleman with the glasses. He's about 60-something. He's from that baby boomer generation. But the way he covered the case, it was good. He didn't put himself particularly right in the middle of trying to interview people and be a paparazzi type. He just actually just covered what was going on, and I can appreciate that. I can actually not only appreciate that, I can appreciate the type of man that he is. So I'll say it like this. Whether you got a gentleman like him covering it or you got somebody like Choke No Joke covering it, shout out to Choke No Joke, Rockefeller Records. It was well done. Cardi B well executed with her lawyers. I don't think it was about how much your lawyers cost, it's the execution and what you got at your defense. And at that time, she had nothing at her defense. You blatantly lied. You went on the stand, and at that time, you told the judge, which we now have a transcript from the stenographer, that you lied. And you said that you lied to collect donations and get paid. When the only thing you have to do is just clean up your act, and you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to make this whole thing about Tasha K, because I think I've talked enough about Tasha K, and I don't want to make it feel like I'm berating Tasha K. It's more so I'm just more so explaining not only what went on with Tasha K, but also where it is with YouTubers nowadays and how this argumentative stance of people going back and forth in the comment section. I've had it happen to me. I just heard Zoe Williams, him go on his page and talk about for donation. Okay, well, you're funding a chick's defense and lawyers. So how smart are you? You know what I mean? I mean, literally, the proceeds that you take, and this is what I was talking about earlier with Black Lives Matter, and that chick, Miss Flurry Curry, whatever her name is, Fuller, I think that's her last name. She was supposed to hold some position at Black Lives Matter or whatever. She tried to do basically what could be equated to embezzlement or fraud, in my opinion. And she tried to buy a home. Well, she did buy a home in Canada. She didn't buy the United States. She bought it in Canada. And like Pop Goes the Weasel, they caught up with her. Oh yeah, they come to get their money. Trust me, I know. I've seen many of artists that happen to. They come to get their money. If you ain't guaranteed or anything else, they coming to get their money. You might as well set up in a separate account. Listen, it's gonna be cheaper. It's gonna be cheaper if you wait it out. Set up a side account and be like, this is gonna be the tax money when they ask for it. It's better, listen to me when I say this. It's better to do that than go to court, like I said, for 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe even 2 years, and then try to fight it with a lawyer. Because the lawyer and the retainer for the lawyer and to keep the lawyer in retention is going to take you at least, I don't know, probably $2 million. That's not a short case. It's a very long case. There's a lot of articles you got to look over and present. It's all about presentation in that trial. It's like almost like a, going to, God, what do you call that? A deposition. It's that type of framework to set up. It's not like when you're in front of a judge and it's courtroom and all that stuff or whatever. It's a very different articulation. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to be in that. So if you do and you're listening to me, your upcoming artist or whatever the case may be, put your money to the side if you're going to feel like I'm going to be delinquent on taxes or whatever, because it's going to come back on you. You're going to have to pull, God, what was this guy's name? Wesley Snipes or something like that to go over to Africa for a couple months. You don't want to do that. Back to what I was talking about. I'm not talking about this kumbaya, we sit by the fire, talk about Africa, talk about Cuba, whatever you want to say. I'm talking more so we have to start having a conversation before this thing gets to the point where we all hate each other and we see a deplorable, despicable degradation of not only having babies, to put it in the simplest form, having babies, procreating the world. But no, I'm saying the interactions between us are so bad right now, between genders. It's just crazy. Like, guys are literally scared to speak to him because they don't know what kind of response they're going to get. And that's crazy to me, And it's not all women, it's just a segment of women. But these segment of women are so influential, and the scary thing is, especially on young girls. You know what I mean? Especially on young girls. I know young girls that know more about Kim Kardashian and all that than I do. They got vlogs now. I go on Instagram sometimes and I'm like, yo, I saw this little 9-year-old girl and she's interviewing Jay-Z coming out the office. I'm like, what the? You know what I mean? And then, of course you gotta stop. You know, of course you gotta stop. Of course you gotta stop. I would just like to see the interaction between men and women on YouTube go a little bit smoother. I don't like this arguing back and forth. I don't like, yo, you know, blah, 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 don't donate to this person. I couldn't believe somebody said, do not donate to Zoe Williams. Zoe Williams is probably on his, 50th freaking book now? And that's all that guy, him and Corey Holcomb and the 5150 show, that's all those guys talk about is kids, and Zoe's on the bookstore, from everything from Jamie Foxx to everything else. So for somebody to say that to Zoe Williams and I hear him repeat that myself. I heard him say this live on his podcast. I'm just like, wow. Now I know somebody will take that clip, run with it, get your 50,000 views. Think about that before you do it, please. You're embarrassing a man that's a legend, that's been a contribution, not only to the cause, but to the race. But you have so many of these other old black men that go around and mean mug and, you know, I talked about this Gen X, not Gen X, this baby boomer generation that's still out here. And black, white, Spanish, all three of them, they some worthless MFers. I'm trying not to get flagged here. This worthless, like, especially when we're speaking from a place of African Americans and Latinos in this country. You know, a lot of these old people that are out here right now, Dick Gregory tried to say it, bless his heart, before he died. He was not one of them. But legendary Dick Gregory, he tried to infect it too, and it didn't go too well for him, I don't think, when he said it, but it made a lot of sense to me when I heard it. And he was saying that a lot of these old blacks and old Latins haven't fulfilled their obligations. And that's why you see a lot of the crazy stuff going on out here, you know? And I agree with a lot of these women when they say, oh, okay, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And let's not pretend, because the CDC has other demographics, let's not pretend that it's just men of color. Because there's a whole bunch of white men out here that ain't taking care of the kids either. Whole bunch of them. A lot of them pretend like they're getting money. You ever been to the grocery store, guys? This is how you tell the difference right here. Go to the grocery store, and if you see some guy in there, and the girl's got the basket, and he's walking around like a little kid, and he's got his chest poked out, and when he gets to the damn register, she paying, that's when you know. You can't do that acting role with me. I've been around millionaires since I was a kid in that damn music business. I know I've been in every car you could think of. I know when I see the fake and when I see the real. Back to what I was saying, this fake and this real thing is the problem. We got a lot of people out here online, excuse me y'all, we got a lot of people out here online pretending that there's something that they're not, and it's catching up with them. And when this metaverse thing comes into play, it's going to be even worse. Now you got avatars that can allow you to motivate through this world, this virtual reality world, within a scope of, what is this? What is not 3D? It's 3D, but it's something else. I can't think of the particular word. It'll come to me in a minute. This is the world that people are going to be living in less than 3 years. And I mean sooner than that, actually. Well, less than 3 years. So it's going to be a new batch of kids that grow up with this digitalized imprint in their minds. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, the older generation is still out here in a lot of these power play situations, especially if they're in some type of constituency, mayor, whatever. You got to watch them. Because every time I always see the same thing. They give all these campaign promises, but at the end, you know, like, what have you actually done? Like out in Chicago with Mayor Lightfoot, I think that's what her name is. Oh my God, is that a terrible constituency or what, guys? Is that terrible or what? She has not done anything, not a thing. That old defund the police thing ain't going so great, huh? Can we have a talk about that? Can we have an actual talk about that right now, guys? How many people think it's fair for me to suggest that at the helm of all that defund the police thing, and I swear to God to you, I'm sitting in front of two police as I say this, because it's the truth. That old defund the police thing, right? Now people are looking back at the demographics and projections that people had in media already, and they said, hey, it's going to be messed up for people of color in those neighborhoods. Watch. The thing I think that fueled it was this, and I said this before and I'll say it again. I had no problem when they were letting people out of jail for the COVID-19 thing. The only thing is sometimes the folks in the judicial system, they don't make the best decisions on things. And I think what wasn't looked in depth was this. Okay, his charge right now may be for stealing in Dwayne Reed, right? But prior to his charges, he had a gun charge. He was the leader of the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? This was the guy that everybody looked up to. You understand what I'm saying? Now he's out on early release because of COVID-19. Let's get the party back started. Now I know a lot of dudes ain't gonna like me for saying that or whatever. And normally I wouldn't say nothing. But y'all out here shooting kids. Y'all shooting kids. Kids that could be your nephew, your niece. A lot of you got brothers and sisters. Could be your nephew, your niece, or whatever the case may be. And for them, I got to speak for the kids. Now, I'm not attributing anything to whatever, but I will say this. The people that were at the helm of that defund the police thing was Black Lives Matter. And it wasn't the fraction of Black Lives Matter that we have known. It was a different form of Black Lives Matter, which was based in Antifa and a couple other things. All right? The crookedness that came from this, you can see, and that's why I brought up this recently, when that girl and her wife bought a home up in Canada for $6 million, which was an ex-retreat of some communist fraction, party, whatever the case may be. This is a true fact. You can ask Justin Trudeau this. All right? Now, y'all don't find that odd? Yo, bro, it's going to sound crazy. These kids ripping what they sow now. Factory. It's a chase of money, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's so instantaneous, and I know this from being a YouTuber or whatever. And if you guys like to donate to me, it's $STRINGERBELL80. Also, it's a PayPal link in the description box. This is the thing. When you comp that all into one, plus add the homelessness rate, plus add, which was on the rise anyway here. I was here around when that was happening. You know what I mean? It's hard to clean that up. And then when you throw in a bum mayor, that was, it just looked like de Blasio wasn't going nowhere. He was like Queen Elizabeth for a minute. Like, you know what I'm saying? She always been overruled, you know? How you doing, sir? All right. It's amazing, but sometimes you got to come to fruition to come to reality. These fractions of Black Lives Matter, I'm not talking about in Hoboken, Minnesota, or something like that. I'm talking about these were particular fractions in major cities that accumulated the money. Now, some of it was done from donations from larger donors and you know, institutions or whatever, but primarily most of the donations, like we know here on YouTube, are taken from personal donors. You know what I mean? And what I mean is individual personal donors that donate to our Cash App, donate to our PayPal, or whatever the case may be. This is where they saw the majority of their donations from people just like you. That's my point. They took that money and bought a $6 million house. Shortly before that, we caught them out in California. They bought a house again. Property, as y'all hear me talk about with my shipping container homes, you know what I'm saying? Even though I haven't talked about it in a while, I still got an LLC, so I'm official. You know what I mean? It's property and land. I say land more so than property, in my personal opinion. This is a business my dad was in, but I'm telling you straight up and down. Property, depending on what the matriculation of the property may be projectionally in the future, meaning how much it might go up, which is a high probability right now at the home prices now. But you stay to make a lot on the sale. And I think that's exactly what these girls saw somewhere in the future moving on or whatever. And I think they just did it for their own personal greedy narcissist means. Yes, I put me on camera for saying that. I really think that these girls had they said that they were opening the place in Canada as an art center. / our home, / our retreat, / our social club, / our, you know what I mean, press releases, whatever we want to do outside American territory. So now we don't have to adhere to American. It's a whole bunch of stuff in that we can do that. You know what I mean? Like I said, I come from the music business. I know all the ifs and ands you can do, whatever people try to do. You know what I mean? And sometimes, you know, it gets through, sometimes it doesn't. This is one of the times it didn't, and I'm glad it didn't. And I hope that they start exposing these girls more and more. Now, like I said, I want to emphasize once again, this girl has a wife. You understand what I'm saying? The other girl was the same thing. She had a wife, girlfriend, something like that or whatever. The people that were at the helm of this whole defund the police thing and all that stuff were the same thing. They were women. Now, the girl that they just caught just recently, Fuller, I forgot what her name is. She actually had a cheap position at Black Lives Matter. That's why I'm pointing her out. This wasn't somebody that was just frivolous, you know, somebody that just got caught. No, this was somebody, I want to emphasize one more time. I don't care how you shake it. $6 million is a lot of money. $6 million is a lot of money. We're not talking about $60. I said $6 million. And $6 million out of people's donations, that's some low calibers, you know what I mean? And most of that money was taken from that. Now, I want to emphasize why I keep saying that these girls had wives and girlfriends or whatever. Because at the helm of this defund the police shit, it was really, and I hate to say it like this, women. It was women. I could count on my hand maybe 6 or 7 advocates that were men that actually said, yeah, let's do this. Most of the men that did agree with it did it under pressure because of the groups. Now, let's get for real on it. I don't know how many lobbying groups they have that are made predominantly out of women nowadays, and not all of them are bad. But what I do see is they trajectorily find causes and advocate for things that sometimes are unreasonable, you know? Sometimes not even realistic, not even in 5-10 years from now, you know? And this is one of the things that serves as an example of that. This is a whole bunch of women that actually advocated for this. Now, we're seeing city to city to city to city, kids getting killed. And nobody's answering from that. None of these groups, these women's groups that advocated for that are now coming forward and saying, hey, you know what, it was a bad idea, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I put up the defense and I said this is the way to do it. Now we're talking about AOC, the squad, all of them, they had their part in this. Defund the police, defund the police. Listen, and if y'all think I'm a joke, I'm not no joke. This is a fact, you know what I'm saying? That's the NYPD right there, you know what I'm saying? Now, the reason they out here in such force is because folks have been shot out here and everything else, including the kid, not even too far right behind me. And another kid, I think, right around the corner from here. He was visiting from upstate New York. This is a fact. You know what I'm saying? This whole movement now has now some advocates and the same people that were there now having to come back, and they're asking these men to advocate and say, hey, bring them back, bring back the funds, whatever. If we get to the point where you see in Chicago, Florida, and a couple other cities, little black kids getting killed, you know, like the criminals not even having any discretion. Like, I can at least say that much. When I was coming up, at least most of them had the discretion of not shooting in crowds, not shooting people indiscriminately, not shooting children, shit like that or whatever. And this is a discord that they show and emphasize only with their own. You know what I'm saying? Only with their own. I've seen guys with my own 2 eyes get more of a welcome coming home from jail than a guy graduating from Yale. I swear to God to you. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. So, you know, this ideology that don't need them or whatever, what I will say is this. No, you don't need passive aggressive officers. You know what I'm saying? In your neighborhood. You don't. And I don't care if that passive aggressive officer is black, white, polka dot, whatever. You don't need him in your neighborhood because he's not going to understand. He's not going to understand most black and Latino guys. You know what I mean? And the ones that are black and Latino, the problem with them is they have to feel like they have to prove something. So they become a little passive aggressive. I can understand why sometimes because I see it. You know, you can't walk past one of them and be like, oh, you know, F you, whatever, whatever. And they ain't said nothing to you, sometimes not even looking at you. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can bring that on yourself. I've seen dudes do that. I'm like, we check them and correct them. I've seen it a million times. I'm like, yo, you don't leave them alone. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to speak. If you're not, keep it moving. Or whatever you're going to do, you know? But I see a flaw in this whole defund the police thing. And I just asking why all these women that advocated and lobbied for it, how come they ain't coming forth and saying, hey, this was a bad idea? That's all I'm saying. How come they ain't coming forth and saying, hey, this was a bad idea. We got black kids getting killed. Most of these women are single mothers. We saw a senator somewhere down there in D.C. and another one in Florida or whatever. She got carjacked or attempted carjacked or whatever. It was a bad idea. Let's just say that. I just want to hear these women's lobbyist groups come out, AOC, or maybe, you know, one of the other two of the squad, you know, come out and say it was a bad idea. That's all. Because the only people I see getting hurt, and it's stretching out now to the suburbs as well. Don't get me wrong, in Connecticut, we got our share of it too. Ask Ned Lamont. Billionaire businessman turned mayor, governor. He's from my town. He's from Stanford area, Fairfield County. Him along with others or whatever, now realizing that if somehow or another, if there's black children unaddressed and what's happening to them in these neighborhoods, and get somebody in there that can really, it's a lot of guys online talking, you know, talking and taking donations. I'm gonna read that comment in 2 seconds. Talking and taking donations. I think I'm gonna do a live about that. But there's a lot of guys talking and doing donations, but they ain't moving outside. From what I understand, George Soros and Rob McCray and others donated approximately $500 million for permanent infrastructure for Black Lives Matter movement back in 2005. You may very well be right. But what I do know is I saw from my own two eyes, and I said it early on, and it's recorded here. I said, I think there remains with Antifa. Whenever you got a group that's big like that, you'll always have a sister group or another group or something like that try to come in and mimic or tag along with that more popular group, right? So you saw this like with the Weather Underground. There were mimic groups that came after that back in the 60s. I think it was 60s or 70s or whatever. They were pure terrorists, domestic terrorists at that, collegiate domestic terrorists. You always had groups that will attach themselves to a more popular group, even the neo-Nazi groups they do, you know? And they'll do it because of momentum. They want to grab in membership, they want to grab in people to grab their ideals, you know, whether they be negative, positive, in between, esoteric, you know, whatever. That's how cults are started, to be honest with you. And a lot of these guys nowadays online, the cults, they're not really, you know, somebody you should follow or whatever. That's what I'm trying to emphasize to you guys. There's a lot of people out here preaching a lot of narratives or whatever. Even the whole defund the police thing, that got started online. You know what I mean? So it's like, whether or not you agree with it or not, the reality is you see the results of it. You know? You see the results of it. That's why I said people online that have 100,000 followers, I only got 7,000 something plus followers, right? And yeah, hundreds of thousands of views. I'm at 1.3 million or something like that, and I did it in a year. You know what I mean? And most of it was based off of my story and who I was, you know, the bad boy thing and all that stuff, or whatever. And shout out to Bad Boy Entertainment. But I mean more so like this, man. If you guys are not using your platforms and your formats to at least do one story a month, especially right now, it's Black History freaking month. If you're not using your formats and everything like that to do something outside of a gossiping story or guess who's sleeping with who from Love and Hip Hop or something like that, then you really ain't doing no service to much or nothing. You know, you just on here. You know, I give it to Doggy Diamonds. Doggy Diamonds gets on the Spits Out Real. I give it to Star, the Star Report. I give it to Choke No Joke. I'll give it to a lot of these different guys that at least take one day out of the week or one day out of the month and say, oh, let me speak about this because this is for the culture, whatever, moving forward. This is the problem in this or whatever. As we move forward more and more and more, where people seemingly, for some reason or another, rather talk about things online that make no sense other than outside of gossiping. I mean, this is stuff like, I say even 8 years ago, is a major format for everybody to follow the same pillar online of just gossiping. This like 7 or 8 years ago, this would have been a format at the barber salon or at the beauty salon. You know what I mean? So a lot of you guys out here, you don't understand. You mimicking women that used to have rollers in their hair right now. That's what we used to hear. Like when I was going to the barber shop and the beauty shop was pretty much the same. When my uncle took me and everything like that. Later on, my dad or whatever. But it's like, yo, that was the gossip room right there. How about you guys? Was that the gossip room for you guys? Like the barber shop, the beauty salon. If you stopped at the grocery store with your parents and they ran into somebody, they tatter, whatever. That was a place for gossip. I just think that people having hundreds of thousands of views and just based on the same gossip. I mean, it's like within the first 10 minutes of a story, there's at least 30 of us, and I'm one of them, that we have to report on the story. So that's like 30 people at minimum, just in my feed, that are sharing the same story. You understand what I'm saying? Now, YouTube gets 1 billion hits a day, so let's say out of that billion, there's a third that got the same story. So we're talking about upwards of, I don't know, roughly about 300,000 people at the same time shooting the same story. Does it make sense to you? Nobody is the alternative or whatever, and it's a shame that YouTube now has to be brought in front of Congress once again to answer for this. A lot of these other social media networks too, because what they do is they filter the garbage stuff to people, and then the people that actually have something to say, they kind of muster and fuss, and they'll give you all these little weak reasons in the reporting on YouTube Studio. Your video didn't reach that. I know because I wasn't gossiping. I wasn't gossiping. I'm actually trying to, I don't get online to dictate to people. I just, hey, this is what I see, this is what I know, and if you agree with it, you agree with it. If you don't, you guys always got your alternative plan. I'm not here to, amass a following by, dictating. You know what I mean? I'm not a ruler. Barbershops are like gossip and debate rooms with a therapist slant to them. Exactly. That's all they are. That's all they are. I know like some of the biggest conversations I've had, you know what I'm saying? The first conversation I ever had about Vijay was in the barbershop. That is no freaking lie. I had it with my uncle about Vijay. And I remember I was like probably 11 or 12 or whatever, and they just broke it down for me, and they broke it down smoothly in conversation. This is my dad's brother. So they just broke it down in conversation, and, it alluded to whatever. After about a year or two, we start piecing. Oh, I think we can take it from here. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is, man, I wish I had a time machine one day. I would go back. My father's passed, but I wish I had a time machine. Sometimes I could go back and witness that again. That was a very, memorable point, Yeah, man. Barbershops. So basically the conversations that we used to have at barbershops, people are now bringing online, and they're bringing them in the most delicious ways. The daily diatribes make fun of this one, gossip about this one, make up something about this one, add on to a story that's already been reiterated 19, 20 times already previously online, and then we conjure it up and put it in a little batch and twist on it, and we say, this is what it is. And we just shoot it to people on a daily basis. These are the same premises that allow people to get on with narratives or whatever, and they shoot on these people and spew on the people like defund the police, like other different things or whatever, and nobody puts in order to make the people that put it in order, put it in fashion, now come back and say, you know what, there's young black kids getting hurt. Nobody's gonna say nothing? How come the same people, like I said, and I'll say it again, that put forth their effort to lobby for it, how come them same women, and we know it in our culture, It's like, growing up in Connecticut, I always say this all the time. I grew up around a whole bunch of Greeks and Italians and Jewish people, right? That's mostly what Connecticut, the end of Connecticut I live in is made up of anyway, shoreline. So I'm not saying that, how can I say it the best way I can? You almost become your own worst enemy online. You've almost become your own worst enemy because your emphasis of detaching yourself from each other for money has made you your own, each other's own worst enemy. It's kind of like the analogy brother against brother. Each one has got its different definition of it. I think women that lobbied for that defund the police stuff, I honestly and truthfully think they didn't give a damn about the repercussions. They gave a damn about the look. And it's sad to say that these same women will never come forth, including you, AOC, and many of the other senators and congressmen that were convinced, I want to emphasize that, convinced, that this would be a great idea. And if you just look at New York City, and you just look at, I'm not going to say New York City, but I'll emphasize New York, I'll emphasize the tri-state in particular. New Jersey's got their own batch of it. Connecticut, we definitely got our batch of it. Hey, Ruby Johnson, what's going on? TMH Cobra, what's up, baby? It's made the whole country fall. You don't catch it right now. You know, we talking about going over to the Ukraine and all that shit. You need to take care of here right now. Right here, right now. I hate to say it, not New York and just the tri-state, but the whole country as a whole. I grew up here. You know what I'm saying? This is my home. You know, it's like if you lived in France or you live in Germany or whatever. Well, New York City tri-state is my home. It's all I know. You know, I've been everywhere, but this is what I know. And so it's like, it's sad to see this. I don't know, man. Within the course of 3 years, just like, you know what I'm saying? I used to work in the two buildings behind here, 1540 Broadway, which I started at Bad Boy Entertainment, and right up the block here by the Ed Sullivan Theater. I took y'all up there before. The name is still on the billboard, Bad Boy. You know? And to see this place when I come out here, and it's literally nothing out here. You know? A lot of different elements come into play for that. Some people are scared, some people are nervous, some people just, you know, they don't even want to leave their house in general. Many of these buildings that are out here are empty now, including the building I used to work at, empty. In Connecticut, it's the same thing. Buildings empty. In your city, it's probably the same thing. Buildings empty. America is in the course of being one of these screwed up countries and looked at upon as a financial nothing. When you start seeing the people immigrating want to go other places, you know. I spoke several times about at least going to France for 2 years. I've been everywhere with them. Those guys took me everywhere with Bad Boy. I mean everywhere. I've been to Miami several times around. I know the owners of clubs down there, Fountain Blue, all those places down there. Freaking Cali, Georgia, you name it. Compound. I've been through all of them. I put up pictures and videos of it all the time. I had a great time. I'm gonna continue having a great time on my next endeavor. You know what I mean? But I'm not trying to say we have to go in the time machine to go back or whatever, but the future of not only the country, but I'm more trying to emphasize the future of you guys, my subscribers, my followers, black, brown, white, all in, you know, all inclusive. If you don't start doing some interaction amongst each other and start asking some real questions like, how come these women lobbyists are not apologizing or admitting, hey, this was a bad idea with this defund, you know? If you're not emphasizing to people, hey, I don't agree with your idea on this or whatever, and have a literal conversation about it, I think what you're going to see not only a deterioration further of communication outside of the electronic ecosphere, if you want to call it, a digital ecosphere. What you're going to see is a loss of empathy to the point where they never can return. And that's scary as hell. You're already seeing it. People would rather film you getting attacked than even help you. Hey, Angel V. Angel V, what's going on, stranger? Glad you got my alerts. How are you? I've been hitting you up like I will hit you up, your app. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, guys, if you'd like to donate, it's $STRINGERBELL80. That's StringerBell80 at Cash App. Again, that's $STRINGERBELL80, StringerBell80 Cash App. Also, be a PayPal link in the description box. In the description box. And also in the pin link after this is done, whenever I'm done within the next 5-10 minutes. Thank you, TMH Global, right there. It's right there in the chat room right there now, guys. You guys can donate to that or whatever. I would appreciate it. I am a man that has literally started having to start my whole life over, so every dime helps. I literally, for my long-time subscribers that are here with me or whatever, the reason I emphasize what I talk about, and I make no shame of it because it's right here on this page, I documented the whole thing. And the format that we're going to put it in, I got with a friend of mine, Terrence. I'm just going to say that. How can I say it? I'm going to enjoy working, trying to make this into something. And I think it's going to be very easy to make it into something based on there's so many elements around it. And so I'm hoping I can bring it to you in film format where not only you guys will like it, but you'll be able to identify with it. You know what I mean? And it's more important. What I documented, if you're a new subscriber, reach out to JT Bigger Figure. He's doing free promotions to grow your channel. I am. I'm going to reach out to him, definitely. Thanks for that info. I follow his channel. I just haven't seen his updates. Every time we do these updates with YouTube, something else different happens. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I try to do the monetized thing again or whatever. It's iffy. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do a whole podcast about that or whatever. But, one of the sad things is, like I said earlier, and I'm going to go back into what I was saying, is like a lot of people are monetizing and helping people and helping YouTubers that per se don't have the best messages. So that's more so what this whole live was about. Not calling people out as individuals, just calling it out in the secular form and linear fashion. You dig me? Hit that thumbs up. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up, y'all. It helps the rotation of the channel. I want to say this, man, and I'm going to get out of here, guys, because it is getting a little chilly out here and I can use a cough. Interaction is the most important thing that you guys can have right now in the black and brown community and white community as well. Because, shooting up a school or shooting up a country music western concert with 500 innocent people and having our state having to outlaw Comstocks, the actual utility that was used added on to help them do that. We got a lot of temperamental, soft men out here. Temperamental, soft women too. But temperamental, soft men. And that's what I kind of pointed out what I see in the interaction with everybody online. It's getting so vicious that people are making threats with each other. People are saying, yo, I'll pull up at your house. You're seeing people pull up at people's houses and filming it. And then later on, posting that. You know what I mean? This is kind of the world we live in. You add in this metaverse thing, and I think you're going to see a whole new thing. First of all, first thing they're going to do, first things first, they're going to learn how to criminalize it. Whether that's the black market, whether that's the illegal avatar market, whatever it's going to be something to it. Trust that. It's a new market. The metaverse. And you could come to be in a 3D alternate reality for your next 20 or 30 minutes. There's going to be so many things implemented with that. You know what I mean? They'll probably implement some type of, I don't know, man. This is, I was ill with the flu for 12 days. Oh, man, did you have COVID-19? All right. Okay, good. I was going to say, please don't have that crap. Which one are they on now? The Decepticon variant. Oh, man, the Decepticon variants. They've had so many variants of this crap. Now they're just calling it an endemic. We got to live with it. An endemic. Not a pandemic. It's being transitioned into an endemic. That's what they say. That's what they say. Truth is, nobody know nothing about it. You want a proof? We went from, you get the first dosage, you'll be all right. Listen, you got to get the backup dosage now, you'll be definitely all right. Listen, get the backup dosage, and you're definitely going to be all right. But doctor, we still catching it. All right, listen, get the backup dosage, and you'll be all right. Truth is, we don't know. It's experimental inoculation. My mom was a nurse. LPN, RN, she did all of them. It's a practitioner. It's experimental inoculation. Now, most studies for inoculations take anywhere from 5 to 10 years. It was actually a variant that they were using on a form of flu which came from a strain of Jesus Christ, what this is originally called. The international community refers to COVID-19 as SARS. It's a form of variation of SARS. SARS, if many of y'all don't remember, was back in I think it was like 2004, 2005. But they call it COVID-19 SARS-2. So that's the terminology the international community, they at least refer to it as much as I know anyway, still. But it's a variant of SARS. Experimental inoculations. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go get it. I'm not Joe Rogan. Only thing I'm telling you is this is experimental. Basically, experimental in progression inoculation. Is that fair to say? It's experimental in a progression as far as the results and how they handle it. Is that fair? This is our new reality. We're going to have to live with it, and that's why I'm speaking so much lately. And I tried to change my narrative a little bit more, too, as I was previously doing, and talking about relationships as far as now. This is not the relationship that you technically know as far as like a man and a woman and love. I'm talking about relationships as far as like society-wise. You know what I mean? You're seeing a breakdown of social order. And people don't realize it. You keep keeping these people in the house and cooped up and feeling like they can't do what they want to do a little bit, you're going to see them hit the streets even more. They're doing it now. I'm just catching it early, and a lot of other YouTubers that I know, Red Supreme and a couple other guys, they're catching it early too. We see what's happening. And a lot of people, including white folks, y'all got to listen to us. Because if you don't listen to us, I ain't going to be out there next to you fighting. You are. So take it as I'm trying to give you some motherfucking advice. First things first, the animal that you're seeing right now ain't been here in a long time. I was a kid when it was happening, but the last time I could put it in comparison is what you see where exactly I'm at right now. If any of y'all seen the HBO show The Deuce, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a repeat of that. That's all it is. It's a repeat of what you used to see in the 1970s, whatever, and it's back. And just like this, it has a cycle, and it'll end. How it ends, that's the question. Now, I don't know, contrary to a lot of white folks, black folks alike, that are elite, Latinos that are elite as well, we don't like being around these motherfuckers either. Now, I know you don't think that. And I know you think otherwise, but I can assure you, no, that ain't the case. Most people will say that. In fact, most of the calls you guys probably go on, if you notice, most of those people over there, they work and they come home, the majority of them. Costs an arm and a leg to live here. Try to buy a house in here in New York City. See how much the taxes will set you back. You think Connecticut taxes are high? Come to New York City and try to pay property tax. You better own a commercial property. I said own a commercial property, not lease a commercial property. Own a commercial property. Owning a commercial property will be something like what I do sometimes up at Trump Tower. You know, that's a commercial property that's ownership. You guys ain't paying attention, man, to the right things. You guys ain't getting on the right wavelength where you can actually be heard and actually have some resolution come out of what you're saying. And you need to start asking some certain questions sometimes out of the certain advocates that you have out there that are not doing their diligence. Hey, Anton Queen, what's going on? You need to start asking some questions of these guys. These guys, they get in these positions, they end up stealing, they end up advocating for things that otherwise are bad ideas. Once they advocate for these things, they offer no reassurance that they're going to work. And the only people that get affected is the people that are brown and black. And I got to say, more importantly, if you don't start having some interaction with you guys, it's not on an argumentative platform or playing field, it's going to get worse. We're going to disassociate ourselves gender-wise so much within our culture, and because it's already a gender battle. Can we just say that red pill, toxic feminism versus round one? You know what I mean? So It's there. It's there. We got a whole bunch of men running around online talking about this is why you should stay away from women. Okay, so that emphasizes a mentality of separate yourself from women. They are the devil. They are the enemy. Then we got a side toxic femininity and their movement, which is stay away from men. No, men are bad. And, and so that adds to the depopulation status that you give these, predictions and conspiracy things. But I mean, that's the reality of it. That's what it aids to. It aids to separation. So you throw that in, you throw in the isolation of COVID-19, you throw in the mental problems and all that stuff that happened during COVID-19, you throw in the fear of having to go outside, you throw in where you think that's headed. And when it stops abruptly, let's say if tomorrow it stopped abruptly, do you think that everybody's just going to reset? No, you got the same nuts you had when the pandemic was live in effect. And now what they're going to try to do now, in my opinion, is they throw out words. I know this from marketing. I worked in the marketing department at those record labels. They throw out keywords and language. So this is now going to transition into an endemic. And that's why they threw that out. CDC representative threw that out the other day. It's going to turn to an endemic, meaning that there'll be one more stimulus package or whatever. What they're hoping to do is end it because they don't want the tag to run out too soon. Now, we can keep printing money. That ain't no problem. But I heard some numbers the other day. We printed more money in the past 2 years than we have in 40 years. That's what they say. We printed more money in the past 2 years than our whole history in the past. That's what they say. It is going to be totally divide and conquer. It will bless you in return. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Angel V. Sounds divide and conquer. It's divide and conquer by the measure of this. Because you have so many people excelling so quickly, I say monetarily more than before, especially here on our platform on YouTube, I think what you got is you got people seeing that they can get very rich very quick. And it creates this decadent narcissist attitude where it's like, I'm better than them. I heard 50 Cent say this, and it always stuck with me when he said it. It was genius what he said here. He said, you know the difference between two people in the housing projects? He said, I can have on brand new sneakers. We can be in the same pissy elevator, but I'm better than you because I got those new sneakers on. That's the mentality. Now that mentality has erected itself on YouTube. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because I hear the same little notions or whatever. I'm like, what are we in 12th grade or something? You know what I mean? So that, when you aid all that stuff together, like I said, it creates an environment, and people, they don't want to hear me, you can't hear me, whatever. It's creating an environment where you're seeing people now test different boundaries that they never before would have tested. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And whether you want to, some people, they'll be like, oh, well, come on, man, you on this too much or whatever. No, I'm telling you. And you're going to see it's going to get worse. It's going to worsen, It's going to worsen to the fact where you can't control it anymore. Does that make any sense? And that's called antidote to anarchy. Which many of these little groups, these collective groups, and a lot of y'all seen them online just as well as I have, I make it an effort to never back down from these groups and tell them how I feel or whatever the case may be, because at the end of the day, it's like this. It's going to happen anyway, because that's how you feel, So I go in and I hear something on one of these separatist groups or whatever. They've come on my channel, as y'all seen before. This is what you do. I say, well, listen, I'm not on here talking about no separatists, anything. You know what I mean? I'm talking about togetherness. Now, I ain't Herbie Love and, you know what I'm saying, the Kumbaya Fire guy either, but I at least put forth my effort, and like I said, many of y'all should too again. So only thing I just want to see is the deterioration of a lot of people online that are just going back and forth and arguing with each other and fighting each other online or whatever, and put the same effort that you have into doing something, what I do sometimes, and going to these neo-Nazis and all their pages and saying something to them. If you're brave enough to sit around and talk to your own people like that, go over there and say something to them. We could use your effort, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that most of you won't, though, and that shows who you really are inside. My uncle told me that a long time ago, and that stuck with me. Judge a man and challenge a man on something that's righteous, and you'll see the exact type of person you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Now, that don't mean I'm better than anybody. That don't mean you better than anybody either. But at some point or another, if somebody's not willing to sit down and compromise with people and have just a general conversation on the differences online and let it be seen, and that's one thing I'll applaud Sonetta and them about, then you really ain't worth much to me. So, guys, I'm out of here. I appreciate you tuning in with me tonight or whatever. Live from New York City, man. Let y'all see this a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm about to get out of this cold, grab me one more coffee, and I'm out of here in New York City Police Department right there, all that stuff. But I wish y'all the best tonight, man. Please make sure y'all hit up the Cash App, $ STRINGERBELL80. That's Stringer Bell 80 on Cash App. I'm going to get out of here. Here, I'll let you guys see what's the name real quick, man. Yeah, and I appreciate that. YouTube perception is not real world reality, but keep falling in the cap and the bullshit. All right, so I'm going to go for 10 more minutes. Very true. This is the problem, right? A lot of people that are on YouTube nowadays are people per se that have never had any advantage of being in the media industry in any form of fashion, all right? So you're talking about people that are basically novices that are picking up a camera and they're just jumping online. And they're just saying to themselves, I'm going to say whatever I want to say, I'm going to spew whatever salacious stuff I want to spew, and that's why I keep on using Tasha K and Cardi B's cases recently being dissolved, well not dissolved, resolved. $4 million, what? Yeah, that'll make you snap back into reality. A judgment of $4 million. I ain't as big as I thought I was. I was just playing. But nevertheless, the judgment has been there, whatever. But this is the thing. Tasha K, along with others that are on YouTube, kind of followed the same palette where they did the same thing. They talked about people that considered they were bigger than what they were, and then at the end, they got taken down. Now, Tasha K ain't the only one this has happened to. There's a lot of other ones on online nowadays that's doing the same thing, talking about what they're going to do, what they ain't going to do. I've had it happen to me. Dozens of times. Dozens of times. Somebody don't like what I say. Like, I've had people rock with me for months. I say one thing they don't like. You know what? I'm unsubscribed and da-da-da-da-da. I got thousands more. Go ahead. Thousands more. Go ahead. You know, that don't hurt my feelings. You want to hurt my feelings, say something about my mother, father. You know what I mean? Don't sit there and tell me something about some freaking YouTube unsubscription or whatever. That's what I mean. Instead of discussing what I might have a problem with, or an issue with, what they might have an issue with, they'd rather argue. I ain't trying to argue with people. Not online. Yeah, please hit that like button, y'all. Appreciate it. Everybody hit that like button. I'm tempted to get out this cold, take my butt home. It's freezing out here now all of a sudden, you know? Oh, man. Let me get over here to the side. Like I was telling you guys, right? It's all about this whole thing about not interacting with each other. The poor, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just sickening, man. It's just sickening. It's like, I can't even say hello to somebody that looks like me because it might be a problem, because he might take it the wrong way, you know? And a lot of this, it facilitates itself online nowadays. Does that make any sense? Well, I see it so much online where it's like one guy says something to one guy, the other guy's trying to act all tough all of a sudden. I'm like, this is corny. You know what I mean? Like, I've done that stuff before. I've been out there before. So I know what it comes to and what it means when it happens. You know, like, that's not the way it goes down. It's not the way it goes down. A lot of pretending online. He's very right about that. A lot of pretending online. You guys want to see 2 Chainz board? Let's see if I can catch it for you. Ah, it flipped off. Right when I clicked the camera over. Let me turn this back around. This is, here, I can show y'all this before I walk off, right? This is, Good Morning America here. Ain't nobody out here,
This
but
is the better view.
this is all Times Square right here, blah, 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 blah. Let you guys see a little bit of that. Like, this is the deadest I've ever seen it in my entire life, I swear to God. That is crazy. It's so dead out here. And it's early. What time is it? 11:51. It's not even 12 o'clock. It's not even 12 o'clock, guys. And it's just, I don't know, morbid. Like I said, most of these places are closed. You know, there's nothing, it's nothing open really. Most places, if you want to grab something to eat or something like that, you got to be in and out, you know. So that makes a hassle. And then there's other things that go on that just, I'm headed there now. That's why I walked over and said, yo, let me get inside or whatever, because I don't know, it wasn't that cold earlier. Now it's like, you know what I mean? A little freezing now, a little freezing. I'm still trying to talk to y'all about how I feel about this whole thing with not only just how folks are amongst each other nowadays, just why they're like that. You know what I mean? Why they're like that exactly. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I'm just tired of arguing with folks and seeing people argue in color. But when some real stuff happens, they don't want to come together on that. Everybody should have been on Joe Rogan for saying what he said. Everybody should have been siding with, yeah, I agree. And I just see people separating more. People are attacking each other online on a daily basis. People are, you know what I'm saying? Like on a daily basis. I see one YouTuber beefing with another YouTuber, or one YouTuber saying something about another YouTuber. I've been part of it myself, ashamed of it, but it's happened with me as well, you know? I've been part of it. I don't want to see that anymore, you know? And more so, as YouTubers, I think a lot of people on YouTube have a responsibility to kind of like calm that stuff down. Like, if you're a bigger YouTuber, you possibly are one of the best positions in your life because you actually have the power to dictate to people, hey, I don't think this is a good idea, especially if you see younger people doing it. You know what I mean? And it's like, a lot of people just will not take that initiative. They just will not take that initiative. You got grown men that make a living on YouTube gossiping. I'm not talking about young guys, 20, 25 years old. I'm talking about grown men on YouTube that make a living by gossiping. I can't do that. I'm sorry. You are right, David. Social media. Hold on, I want to read that. You are right, David. Social media is desocializing the masses, making civil face-to-face conversations an endangered species. That's all I'm saying. And the more it goes on, exactly, it's going to get worse. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. I want people to have more interaction with each other, especially a part of the culture, because of pure simple fact, a lot of the things that you guys are out here saying that are opposing you, a lot of the things you guys are saying that are opposing you, or whatever the case may be, are not coming from each other. They're coming from outside forces that are much, much bigger. And they're going to continue to come. And a lot of people, the way you think you may look, you know, all the shiny, and I've done all the shiny stuff before. I know what it is. All that shiny stuff and all that. You're still an in the Benz, like Kanye said. Yeah, the broke OG 50 and 65, that guy. And I you know, even 50, you got a chance. 55, you got a chance. Yeah, but when you get up there in your 60s, like, I mean, a lot of guys, they don't break until 50, 55 years old, even in today's standards. You know, I'm talking about real money. I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying, chump change. So, yeah, man, you get somebody that's 60 years old. This is what I was talking about earlier. You got a lot of these old black guys out here that are carrying this up, not like young guys, but like young dumb guys. You know what I mean? And I can't take your advice so much. You know, I really can't. Sorry to say, I can't take your advice on that. Not naturally and willingly anyway. I have to be a fool. So, man, it's so much to break down with this. How these relationships got so, it's just so much to it. And it's Black History Month. So that's the thing that's hurt. Do we even celebrate that anymore? I mean, as a unit, do we celebrate Black History Month anymore? Can somebody tell me? Because it don't feel like it, does it? You know, it used to feel like Black History Month. It doesn't feel like that anymore. It's like, I don't know. I won't say it's forgotten, but it's like it's not unilaterally celebrated amongst the masses as it should be amongst the culture, as it once was. It's now celebrated more so by the media, I see, and out of not requirement, but out of fault. You know what I mean? And that's crazy to say that. And I hate to say that, but that's what it feels. That's how it feels. You know, I know when everybody used to go hard in on that. That's what they hardcore celebrate. You know, it's like Black History Month. I remember that. Yeah, like a new Black History Month. It's like weird, man. It's like so weird. It's like most of these kids that I run into nowadays anyway, most of them talk like, I don't know, like 90210 kids or something. Like, it's like weird. They all have the same octave, same tone in their voice. And it's like, oh my God. And it's like real fraudulent and fake. And it's like without any real feeling to it. It's like talking to like a mannequin or something. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a real odd conversation. Like, try to have a conversation with like this randomly, like one of these guys works at like one of these shops like H&M or something like that. It'll be the weirdest like conversation, and then like they'll try to like reel you into their comprehension of things. And like if you don't reel into their comprehension of things, then they don't want to hear anything you have to say. And I'm like, I don't want to be around no narrow-minded person like that, because I've worked with people that are bigger and greater than you and all these record labels I done worked at, so I can't subject myself to that. You know what I'm saying? And that's not being like trying to be extra or anything like that. That's just reality. Like, you have so many different people nowadays for some reason or another that have to prove something to somebody, you know, for no reason. Y'all give me 1 second, y'all. I know I'm jumping all around the place here. We're talking about a little bit of everything, but there's so much that been on my mind, and I like to express myself outside of just talking about gossip about people, talking about what's happening lately. And I want to go back to what TMH Global just said just a minute ago, because that was interesting. It's like the whole conclusion of Black History Month is about to come to I'm just saying social, you know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to act like they're rich, and most of these cats, I say it again, are coming from homes that never made $20,000, $30,000 in a year, you know what I mean? And I don't know how much I can emphasize that time after time after time after time again, but it's the truth, you know? It's just pure simple truth. Pretending that you're better than your own people, I don't know how far that gets. I don't know where that goes. But I'll tell you like this, that'd go far. Sooner or later you start looking like a fool, you know? And I mean, if you're online day to day, and the only people you go against are brown and black people when you're arguing, in my opinion, you're a coward. Is that fair? I think you're a coward. And the reason I say I think you're a coward, because you won't go do that with the person you say is a real enemy or oppressing you or whatever the case may be. You choose to do that in the neighborhood around us, and then put the kids and all that in the middle of it. That's why I mentioned earlier, it was like 60-something kids that had been shot out there in Chicago. New York is the same thing. A couple other places around the country, whatever. I'm like, come on, these are babies, man. And to put bigger emphasis on it, this could be your niece or your nephew, your brother, your sister kid. You know what I'm saying? Or your cousin kid, whoever. You know. It's just reality, man. So that I'm gonna agree with. As far as this new black thing, yeah, this new black thing is going to a decadent stance where it's like these kids, like, honestly and truthfully, a lot of these kids can't even identify with what you actually call black or Latino culture at all. Like, I know there's a distance with Latinx versus Latinos. There's a distance with African Americans versus the ones that before, not even 10 years ago. Like, they act different, they talk different, they matriculate different, they think different, and it's all about inclusiveness and assimilation. And inclusiveness and assimilation only gets you so far. Like I said, I live in Connecticut, man. I've seen people assimilate themselves to the greatest of odds they could possibly go, and nothing coming out of it. Nothing coming out of it. You become subservient. You sit around. You wither. You're just used up for whatever you can be used up. Most of the time, it's for your mind. So that's what usually happens when you become subservient in a working mind. You know what I mean? And that's what seems to be most of these people attribute themselves to, male and female, because there's guys running around talking, oh, I went to college here and there, da 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 da, da da da. All right, I went to college too, and I worked in a major record label for years. I mean, whatever, you know. But these guys will use that as a template to somehow or another exalt themselves amongst the rest of the culture. And I'm like, I've even seen this withered on down to the lowest of people in society, like a janitor or a security guard. I'm like, and they'll do this with their own people. They won't do this with other cultures, and it's just weird. It's like they have this mechanism in their mind. You know what I mean? That's the part I'm trying to get past that psychology end of it. Like, what does that mean when you halt yourself? And why are you halting yourself? Tell us, Jimbo. Dance for us. Oh, there's a Jimbo in every tier, in every culture too. But the Jimbos in this culture, they take a different moniker. You know, you got the typical coon tap dancer, and we got that guy or whatever. And that's exuding the guy that's just generally nice, the guy that's genuinely helpful. Some people just got personalities like that. I'm talking about the brown noser, the one that goes out of his way to make sure that you know he doesn't like you or whatever reason or whatever. I'm talking about that guy, the guy that prevents you from excelling. I saw Madam President on Voice of Walkers Network talk about this. It's like, man, there's a lot of people that look exactly like you that will try to halt, stiffen, or whatever your movements and make sure you don't get ahead of you. In other words, I want to see you do good and I want to see you be big, but just not as big as me. It's the truth. And that's the same way a lot of YouTubers are getting now. I mean, writing comments in the comment section, telling them, don't donate to this person, don't do this. That's foul, man. You know, so guys, I'm gonna leave you right now. I'm gonna get out of this cold, get my butt home back out here to the country. I had a little nice time here in New York or whatever. Went to my storage, came back or whatever. Now I'm about to get in my apartment and go to sleep. Well, not go to sleep. I'm gonna watch the rest of The Strain. I got 2 episodes that I have to watch. One of my favorite shows is with vampires. So I'm gonna watch the last 2 episodes of that. Then I'm gonna go to sleep because I got a little bit more to do tomorrow. So, hey, you know, another day, man. But guys, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate everybody. Hey, LaDon Malone. Whoa. Hey, how are you? Please come back. Tune in. I'll be back tomorrow. I ain't been going live that much, but I'm gonna do it from home tomorrow. I got all those lights and studio stuff or whatever, but sometimes I just like to come out and be outside and do one from here. Hey, Mark 5, what's going on, man? Damn, y'all coming back now. I gotta head up out of here, guys, unfortunately, though, because it is cold out here. It is freezing, as a matter of fact. But thank you very much. I appreciate it, Anton Quinn. Great. Thank you for saying great content. Yeah, man, I just I want to get on here and talk this regular like I used to or whatever. I don't want to feel like every time that I upload something, it's got to be in the guise of gossiping or, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, or who's doing what, or who's screwing who. I don't really do those. My reasons for, you know, talking about Pete Davidson so much is because, you know, they're trying to talk about Pete Davidson as a better guy or whatever. But in reality, Pete Davidson is a mental case for 1, a serial dater for 2, and a drug addict that's been in rehab 2-3 times. You know what I mean? This is a fact. You look that up on your own. You know, I think a lot of people, they really at the content of saying they would rather see her with a white man than see her with Kanye. You know what I mean? For whatever their interpretation of Kanye is, he's still a billionaire. Ain't nothing gonna change that. How you feel ain't gonna change that. How you feel ain't gonna change none of that. This are the things that I talk about when I say Pete Davidson is what it is, you know? It's a serial day. Ask him what happened with him and Ariana Grande. How come ain't nobody bringing that up in a meeting? I think that's a perfect example of his serial dating things. And this is a Staten Island boy. This is a townie. You know what I mean? Townie, county boy, whatever you want to call it. That's what we call them out in Connecticut. We call them townies. I'm a townie, I know. She's so sorry the beauty queen suffered and took her life, mental illness. I saw that, I think a lot of that came from offline. The pressure from offline. She was, I forgot what she was, Miss America or something like that, whatever the case was, big breasts or heart. Yeah, man, I never talked about that. I don't talk no more about really the girl out in Connecticut or whatever. I appreciate Nika Knight. You know what I'm saying? If you people are tagging in with me sometimes, I appreciate you covering that a little bit further. You know what I'm saying? And the developments that happened, the officers that were actually investigating that young girl's death initially have been suspended, as rightfully so. You know, Bridgeport, Connecticut, I can tell y'all this real quick. I live in Stamford. It's part of Fairfield County, so it's part of our county. We know it well. You know, we used to call Bridgeport the armpit of Connecticut. You know, and I'm not saying the people, you know, I'm saying Bridgeport used to be an industrial city. Used to have a lot of factories there or whatever up until like probably the late 90s, early 2000s, and then all of them subsequently, like a lot of places in Connecticut. Same thing happened in New London out there with Pfizer's. They built this big facility that looked like almost like they actually got two of them. They got one across the water in Groton, and they got one in New London. And these facilities are huge. They were development facilities to put emphasis on it. So these weren't your regular facilities. They were doing development there and research. So they have two facilities, one across the water, one on one end. Man, listen. Man, listen. I say it like this, man. Whether it's the girl taking a life, and that's tragic. I think that was under pressure of social media. I'm pretty sure, but she was getting ready to hit 30 or whatever. It was under the pressure of the girl that was out there, and whatever the case may be. A lot of people are doing different things now. Some people are trying to say that her brother bought her drugs or whatever the case may be or whatever. That fentanyl crap or whatever, in my opinion, is coming in from up in Boston up there. It's happened before up there, where it's come from Boston down to our neck of the woods in Connecticut or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that Bridgeport is a bad place, but I'm just saying, for the longest, we call Bridgeport, Connecticut, the armpit of Connecticut. I was there when that ring was there. You get what I'm saying? And people said it a long time. So I forgot exactly what the girl's name was that actually got murdered or specifically murdered. But I want to say RP to her family as well. I don't think her family should have ever had to go through that. I can't think of the tone of her name right now, but if you guys remember her name, the Bridgeport, Connecticut, that died from the Tinder date. And the older gentleman who I believe he was 38, 39 or something like that. LaFontaine, I believe that's what his last name is or whatever. I think he had something to do with it. And you know where you lay in the bed with a girl and you talk about she was alive one minute and breathing heavy and then you woke up. I don't believe that story. I don't believe that story at all. I don't believe that story. If y'all familiar with the story, you know. If not, just look it up. All right, guys, I'm going to get up out of here because, like I said, I'm freezing cold right now, for real, and I really got to use the bathroom. But I want to appreciate all you guys and tell you thank you for tuning in. Guys, if you can, I can always use some help or whatever on the Cash App end of the game. So, $STRINGERBELL 80, string the bell 80. Many of y'all know my story. I'm just, I'm literally starting my life over again. So I make no hins or highs about that or whatever. And I'm having fun doing it, and I want to continue to do the same thing that I'm doing every day. So, guys, make sure, thank you so much, TMH Global, for throwing that in the chat right there. That's right, donate, appreciate, vacate, help vacate, factory. TMH, he ain't just talking it either. TMH just donated to me, and thank God I saw it today because I was able to take that and throw it towards and pay a little bit more on my light bills or whatever. I got bills now, so you know what I'm saying? It ain't the roommate situation or nothing like that. I'm on my own, so I want to maintain that, keep that, you know what I'm saying, and never be in the destitute I was before. I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that on nobody. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, screw all that. You know what I mean? A lot of people try to sit up here and came in my chat room before and say, God dang it, man. Y'all done heard me say, I've been on here for 2 hours almost. Y'all heard me say my what's the name 2 times. You know what I mean? It's 12:10. All right, so I might try to do something else in a minute. I might just walk up the street here. I really don't feel like going all the way out I got to go to. But down below, what's going on? What y'all want to talk about, man, that's been on y'all mind? That's another thing I need to start asking y'all, too, to put in the chat room and everything like that, or put in the comments after. Let me know if it's something y'all want me to cover or something y'all want me to talk about. I'm more than so do that without a problem. You know what I mean? I just want to make sure that I give y'all stuff that y'all want and not just necessarily jump on here and talk about what I want to all the time. So any suggestions that you got, anything like that, leave them in the comments section. Let me know what you want me to talk about in depth or whatever, and I'll do that. I'll do so. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make anybody... You know what? I'm going to try something else, guys, because I'm going to stay on here with you guys, and I'm going to try something else, because it was extremely cold out here, for one, and then two, I think I could do something else and leave from somewhere else. So we're going to try that instead. No, I have not heard... Hold on 1 second. No, I've not heard of Nina Boy. CMH Global said, you good with the current... Hold on 1 second, brother. I got this thing behind me. I can't hear you. You good with the current topic. This social media mindset and attitude is just as bad, and not worse, for COVID, the newest variant of so-called meta. Yeah, I was going to say that, TMH Global. I'm glad you said that. I think it's going to trickle into something else. This is my prediction right here, right? Everybody put me online for this. I think around about April, and I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that with a lot of emphasis. I think somewhere around about April, maybe coming into May. See, the seasons are changing here in the Northeast anyway. Well, most of the United States is pretty much around that same perimeter. And what I think is going to happen is, I think what you're going to have is you're going to have another variant of it. Now, I honestly and truthfully believe that. I think you're not only going to see another variant of it, I think you're going to see the worst variant yet. And I think, just like he said on Meta, I think the next place they'll go is Omegle. And that's spelled Omegle. I think you'll see the Omegle variant. And I think this will be the variant of all variants. You know what I'm saying? I think this will be the variant to shut it down. And I'm hoping that's not it. I'm hoping that's not it. Yeah, every time, like, it really put it in potential, right? When we had this recent variant, right? This recent variant came once the seasons changed. Now, the seasons will change again, and I think what'll happen is, out of nowhere, you'll see another variant come. Do I think this variant will be worse than the previous variant? Oh, yeah. Yeah, make no doubt about it. Not only do I think it'll be worse, I think it'll be more effective, but what I'm hoping it won't happen is they shut everything down again. That's what I don't want to see happen. I think that's what everybody is trying to wean themselves from it being all shut down again. You having to go back or whatever. I've seen 2 countries now do this. Germany, I think they had their own version of shutting things back down. Canada shut things back down, and there was somewhere else to shut things back down. But that was England. England shut things back down, and it was somewhere subsequently able to get rid of another. And I think Australia was another one. It was somehow subsequently able to get rid of it. Now, I don't know if that's a good idea for the United States for many of reasons. One, you've already got a litany of different people in the United States right now succumb to one thing. That one thing is this: they don't want to be cooped up in the house, and the lack of options you have unless you are currently vaccinated, up-to-date vaccinated at that, and literally tested. Now, some of us, we're lucky enough that you got options to get tested almost every day. Everybody ain't like that. You know what I mean? So that allows for it to spread too. If there's what holds true, and they say, I'm trying to put this mask on, y'all, so y'all just give me 2 seconds. If what they hold and say is true, with the variants making another triculation, which I think they're going to do, if what they say holds clear to that, you're bound to see another lockdown. And I think they'll do this final lockdown. This time, just to show people, hey, if we want to do it again, we can do it again. Y'all give me a sec. Y'all see me try to put this mask on? It's a new variant shuts this country. It'll be very, very bad. Yeah, because that's when you're going to see the worst come out. That's when you're going to see the worst. That's exactly what I'm saying to you. This is when you're going to see all hell break loose, because the shock of them shutting everything down is going to make everybody come out of the woodworks. That you can guarantee. I agree with you guys on that one. I just don't, I just personally, I had to stop giving me a coffee, guys. It's freaking cold out. I want to read that right. If the new variant shuts down this country, it will be very, very bad. Yeah, I mean, that's when you're talking about at that point, you're talking about what I was mentioning earlier. You get a sense of anarchy. Not exactly anarchy per se, but a sense of it based on the behavior that it creates. So if you got people that have been hidden up in the house for the past 2 years almost clearly with no interaction with most people, most of the time being secluded to whatever situations they may live in or be in or whatever, it creates a mentality, a scary mentality. And the people that you have to interact based on that right there, it's everybody deals with it a different way. That's all I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm trying to order a coffee, see, I'll give you a second. Everybody deals with it a different way. You know, psychologically, everybody can't be isolated to themselves and come out all right. You know, everybody just can't. They're not built for it. A lot of people are not mentally equipped. A lot of times, these people have had families that have, like, just literally left them in the cold. Could you imagine if you, because I went through partially some of that. Could you imagine none of your family, anybody else giving a damn about what happened to you? For whatever various reason it may be. Well, a lot of people in the African American and Latino community are like that. You know? I'll make no qualms about it. I went through my own hard, rough time, not even 2 years ago when I broke up with my ex. I'm documenting it down here, you know? So there's nothing to be embarrassed about or anything like that for me, anyway. But you can subsequently see the country not only coming to an end, but you can see it. You can see it right now online, but the things that people say, you know, like the things that people say online, I'm never surprised anymore. I see people have conversations about things, and I'm like, why would you say that? And then they just focus on it so hard. Whether it's gossiping, making up something about somebody, whatever the case may be, they spend the emphasis of their time online doing that instead of getting online and talking about something that's valid, like, yo, this is happening, how come we're not having this conversation? You know, that's why I question, like, that's why I question the validity and like Black Lives Matter. That's why I question the validity of Black History Month. That's why I question the validity. And a lot of these guys are online now. They're talking about, oh, yeah, I'm for the people, I'm for the people, okay, what have you done? I had somebody come on and question my page and ask me, what have I done? I've gotten several Black people hired. Back when I was younger. And I had one of them that literally, when I needed a job in the same industry that I got her job in, she was not available for. And I didn't call Atlantic Records to cuss her out. I said, okay, that's cool. Thank you. She acted like she didn't know me. So it was hilarious. So, you know, that's where, I won't say per se desperation. That's where people are opportunists. They'll show you that opportunist face. That's about that. How do you guys feel when you're interacting online and you see people do the same techniques? I want to ask you some of you guys that. How do you feel when you see people online and they use these tactics of coming at you right in the comment section, throwing a foul remark, saying something sexual for a lot of the women? I know a lot of the women, a lot of times they come on with scrutiny of guys like saying crazy stuff. I've seen it myself. I'm like, somebody wrote that to you? Wow. And like from a guy's perspective, I'm like, this guy would never have said that around us, because you know, around us he would have sounded weird. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
196.
It's crazy. I don't know, man. I just, you know, when I see a lot of these guys angle online, some of the behavior I see, the interaction thing, it's neurotic. A lot of it is placed on a short stick of temperament, being annoyed with life or whatever. They just bring all that personality. They just bring all that personality to online. It's crazy. It feels like they are reading from you know, a gangster script. It's a pretend gangster script. It's a pretend script. That's the thing about it. It's a pretend script. If it was a real script, you wouldn't need a script. If it was a script, you wouldn't need a script, you know? It would be actually your actual life. You know, a lot of these guys, you know, you can put that a lot behind a lot of these guys having incidences with hip-hop and a lot of other genres. Drug overdoses, everything else. It's all attributed to, once again, I say online, man. And the reason I say it's attributed to online, a lot of it I say is attributed to online because you can't simple fact that these artists, they get their boost from online, being circulated online. The lifestyles they live get boosted, being circulated online. And that, you know, for some things that's cool and everything like that, most of the time, most of these guys, they can't handle it. Yeah, that's just a reality. Most of these guys, they can't handle it. You guys can be saying, I'm trying to get this coffee because I need my coffee to be out. Hey, excuse me, I just got a coffee. That's literally it.
What you have?
I don't want anything, just my coffee. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, come on. Your arm. I didn't know your arm was coming there. You gets what I'm saying. Yeah. Thanks. There you go. Thank you. All right. I hate when people, like, this is one thing people in New York like to do. They like to talk with their hands, right? And it's like the most weirdest thing ever. I can't stand when people do that, especially when they're right in front of your face. Don't swing your arms in front of my face. I don't know where your arms are going to. Might be headed towards my face. You know what I'm saying? And his son looked at him, or whoever was with him, and said the same thing. You know what I mean? I just turned my eyes. I saw you throwing your arms. I don't know. That's the thing they do here in New York, I guess. Get my ass back to Connecticut. I lied. I love it here. I always love it here. As far as the tri-state, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's crazy. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get my butt back here to Connecticut. I wanted to tell you guys, thank you for tuning in with me. I appreciate it. And I'm glad I got to talk to you about something that actually made some sense to me tonight. And I was talking about relationships as far as people are concerned. You stupid to your age. Just relationships in general as far as people are concerned. It's like interacting with each other. It needs to be more of that. All this arguing and bickering about nothing, and you're doing it only amongst the people and the culture, that ain't gonna work no more here on YouTube or off of YouTube. The next time you see somebody tomorrow that's black or whatever, say something hello to them. Say, hey, how you doing, man? What's going on in your mind? Try to have a conversation. You know what I mean? Even if you can't go that far and have a conversation, at least make an effort. That's what. Where do you suggest us out-of-towners stay in the reasonable and safe? I appreciate your experience. In New York? You gotta tell me, in New York? If you're talking about New York, I could probably point you to a couple of places. Are you talking about New York? Tell me yes or no if you're talking about New York. Just type Y or N. Now, if you talk about what state, that's different. So you gotta emphasize what you're talking about. You talking about state or New York? But Don, come on, right? Yes or no? I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna give her a second to do that because she's worth that. She's been with me for a while. But if you're talking about New York City, you know what? I got an idea. I'm gonna go this way too, so that way I don't have to do all that walking around. If you're talking about New York, there's many places. I'll tell you this much. If I were you, I would try staying at a hostel. It's cheap. If you come in here and you got money to spend, go on Kayak Or, matter of fact, just go on Kayak. Go on Kayak, or what's the other one I used to use? Bookings.com. That's the other one. Yeah. Bookings.com. You can also get flight information on there too, and sometimes I'll package them together, so you can try that out too. That'd be the only other one that I would tell you to do. Other than that, I don't know. You know, like, the reason I say that is because things have changed so much since this pandemic has happened here in New York, that the problem is everything is separated. So hotel rooms are separated. The experience is separated by the pandemic itself. So, things that would have been going on here in New York previously are not going on anymore. Shows, etc., etc., etc. I went to the movies last week. That was the first time I went to the fucking, excuse my friend. That was the first time I went to the movies, I don't know how long. And I caught it for a couple dollars off because it was the daytime. I had done that, I'm talking about at least 3 years, maybe more than that. Somebody had sent me a Cash App, and I said, you know what, I want to go to the movies. I do nothing regular. I just create content and look for content to create. I'm like a robot. You know what I'm saying? All for this YouTube thing. So please donate to $STRINGERBELL80 or Cash App. Also, PayPal link is in the description box. I appreciate everybody that donates, especially people that donate generously, like TNH Global and a couple other people. Like, I'm honestly and truthfully telling you the truth. Like, there were times literally that money coming through saved me. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for writing that in the chat room too. It's in the chat room if you guys want to donate. But that money literally saved me. Like, you know what I mean? This is a nice little billboard, but this is another Broadway play that's, I'm pretty sure, come to a halt. This was called Girl in North Country. Let you guys check this out. I know a lot of y'all see stuff like this, but there's another one that's shut down. I'm believing anyway. So that's primarily the problem right now. Not just here either. Same thing in Connecticut too. The tourism has fallen so much that it's like, yeah, you come and visit, but you're not going to stay the same duration that you used to, because once you get here, what we're finding is, and I think demographics will support this, people are not staying for the same durations they used to. Used to be people come to New York or the tri-state, they stay for a week, 2 weeks minimum. Not anymore. Based on how the ticket packages are up and everything like that, you'll find that on Bookings.com. You're going to find something quite different. You're going to find it's 3 days, 4 days, that's it. People are not doing it to the same depth that they used to travel, in my opinion. And I guess most of the stuff that's out there shows that. So I'll do a little bit about that and talk a little bit more about that soon too, because I travel so many places. Okay, thanks. I should be out there when the weather gets better. Hope to see you soon, brother dear. Yeah, I mean, like, I think summertime probably be a better look for you. Right now, I can tell you it's cold. You see, I had to go get me a coffee. It's so cold out here. I mean, it ain't that bad, but it's chilly, you know? When you live here, you get used to it here. This is all Fifth Avenue right here. When you live here, you get used to it. You keep going up the block up there, that's Trump Tower, but I ain't going up there tonight. Then y'all see the city real quick. Yeah, man, I'm trying to have my whole vibes the same way all year. I ain't trying to beef with nobody or whatever. Many of y'all know me when I first got on here, coming from the homeless situation and everything like that. And I made no qualms about that, you know? But right now, it's about maintaining my life, getting some better things, making some purchases or whatever. And I'm going to get on here every day and fight to get mine. You know what I'm saying? And I shouldn't have to be subjected to people that look just like me turning around and saying, don't do this for this guy, or don't donate to this guy, or poking fun or whatever. You don't know me. You know what I'm saying? And you never contributed to me. So how are you to sit there and judge somebody, and then you got a profile It doesn't have any face on it. You got a profile that was set up 3 days ago, a year ago, or something like that. And you're making comments. That doesn't make sense to me. And I've learned to not respond to people like that anymore. You know, I just make you an example on my channel. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for any of you. If you come on my channel with that BS, I'm clipping you, recording you, and posting you up so everybody can see you and we can all laugh at you. And just like they came around and insulted me, I want everybody on my page to go over to anybody they see, post it up, and harass the heck out of them. Y'all go get them. Go harass the heck out of them like they out here harassing people. You know what I mean? Damn banshees. I mean, don't get them like they want to mess with me. You know what I'm saying? These are the type of people who are a virus. And your success will be the vaccine. I hope so, man. I'm trying my hardest to stay. Some days, I got to be honest with y'all. I really do not want to even mess with YouTube. I'll be like, listen, I'm trying to avoid, let me keep it a buck with y'all, right? I can make a move real quick. I ain't gonna put nothing in the description. I can make a move real quick and be not straight, but I can be put in a better position. And I refuse to make that move based on make sure ain't nobody listening on various reasons. You know what I'm saying? Most of it being legally. So I refuse that. That proposition has come up to me, you know, and for obvious reasons, I can't do that. Too old for that too. But I'm tempted, I ain't gonna lie. I am tempted. But nevertheless, there's some days I get on here on YouTube and I really don't feel like talking. I really don't feel like interacting with people or whatever, because it's like, I've had times that I've done 3-hour lives. You know what I'm saying? Literally put all my time, attention to what I was saying, go back and rehearse things and make sure they sound good. And nobody would even care to, hey, can I throw in $4, $2, anything, you know? But at the same time, these same people, or not them in particular, but some people will come into my chat room and say whatever they wanted to me. And I'm just like, no, you're not going to do that. I've had people say some crazy things to me y'all will not believe, and I just have to ignore it now, because I had to learn I can't be on here arguing with everybody, because people look back at my videos and think I'm like wilding. I'm like, I'm not wilding. I'm responding to somebody that says something crazy to me. Don't you see them? And like, to the average person, excuse me, y'all, to the average person, they just gonna be like, nah, I ain't see that. I ain't see that. They're gonna see what they want to see. Thank you, Superstar Bella. Yeah, I just, you know, so it sometimes it is hard. And then, like, I don't make no qualms about this either. And this is why I talk about being nicer. If you would have caught me a year ago, I was mean as hell. I was mean. And now that I look back on it, I'm like, I was mean. I was being mean. And I'm not typically a mean person per se, but I will get up on you if you do something wrong to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a Taurus. We bent on revenge. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody better at revenge except for me and Scorpio. Oh, Scorpio got a vicious bite, boy. Don't get in no Scorpio. They named that for a reason. You know what I'm saying? This is a fact. I learned that personally myself. A Scorpio is named a Scorpio for a reason. They will sting you. A Taurus will get you by the horns. You know what I'm saying? This is a fact. Now, I don't go around making fun of nobody on purpose. I've said what I've said online a couple of times about a couple of vloggers or whatever, and a lot of times they deserved it. Can we all disagree on that? A lot of the vloggers I've talked about, I ain't talked about because I needed them. Like, they keep killing me with this. You mention my name to get views. I got videos that got over 200,000 views with me just talking about myself. All thing you got to do is hit my videos and hit older videos. It's very simple. Go look. I got videos with hundreds of thousands of views of me just talking about myself. Wait a minute now. You know? And some of those videos got more views than the most viewed videos on a lot of y'all that talk like that's channel. You know what I'm saying? I don't go after nobody. Thank you, TMH. I don't go after nobody that I don't feel deserved it. Like, there are some raunchy, nasty, matter-of-factly, I know what's best for the culture, I know what's best for everybody types online. And I'm like, I really have to look sometimes and be like, what qualifies you for anything? You know, like, what qualifies you for anything, for that matter? Like, to speak on anything right now, like, and I don't mean that in a narcissist way. I mean it in a way of like, you got a lot of people that are unseasoned, never been in, and I've said this before, never been in the industry, nothing, and are just online talking. Just talk like they are experts. I've heard people on here discussing the music business, how the way it is or whatever, ain't never sat not a desk in the office. Talk about this is the way the music business is. Listen, follow me. I got the way in the marketing plan. I know 2 people I can call right now, and any marketing plan you got will not see the end of light. Not in that world. You talking about some independent measure that may or may not work in the music industry, that's cool. I don't have no problem with that. But if you're talking about the office format that's usually centered around managers and all that or whatever, I know a couple people I can call have that ended real quick. You know what I'm saying? Most of them, I keep telling y'all, most of the people I worked with in the music industry, I'm still in touch with. Not my immediate people I was working with, but I'm talking about the people I've met along the years. I'm still, you know, talk and chat. Some faces are new, but they know who I'm from and extend from or whatever, based on that familiarity. You know what I mean? We're able to develop our own relationships. I appreciate that. But no, man, I'm not for the BS. That's why I said all that playing and going back and forth, talking about what you're going to do online and all that, don't scare me. I saw Method Man the other day. Had to intervene in one of his lives because somebody jumped online. Said, why come you ain't got your mask on? Method Man checked him quick. What you mean I ain't got my mask on? Who are you talking to like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I mean. Like, the narcissism of the internet has mofos out here that's jumping online saying whatever they want to say. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy, man. Crazy. You're not going to say what you want to say to me, though. And I'm not going to be beefing with people. I'm going to say, let's have a conversation. Y'all please hit that like button if y'all can, just like y'all do with every other YouTuber. People be getting on YouTube, act like this is their first time on YouTube. Hit that like button, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me. Show some love, if you would, to the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL 80, that Stringer Bell 80 right here with Davin Lewis. So let me get back to what I was talking about before, right? So, facts, I'm a Scorpio. You know what I'm talking about, yeah. Taurus and Scorpio, that's how we do. So, outside vindictiveness, I don't know how we got here, vindictiveness, but outside vindictiveness, right? Lies this area, this gray area on YouTube nowadays where it's like, everybody's just as World War III, especially with the genders. And ladies, some of y'all have some disgusting, turn this back around. Some of y'all have some disgusting diatribes online, and some of y'all are doing a heck of a service. Shout out to the Crimson Cure, shout out to Pink Book, shout out to a lot of other women that are online right now, laying it down and exposing the thottery that goes on out here. You got girls now, I call them the Good Girls Club, because you got girls now that are out here, you got girls out here now spreading the good word, for real. Spread the good word like daddy showed them. No. My only job is to keep my daughter off the pole, as Chris Rock would say. And a lot of these guys did a good damn job, because these girls are out here and they're online, like Crimson Cure, and a couple other women out here preaching the gospel. The book of Thottery devolved. You understand what I'm saying? Back, demon, back. There's a lot of good women out here of color that are doing their job and their diligence as far as getting this message out here and this arguing and all that. And that's why when I saw them doing it, I said, well, you know what? My whole diatribe was that anyway, so maybe I'll just go back to it. You know what I'm saying? I just go back to it. Because I can't be following all these stories. Everybody. Like, if it stick out to me and I feel like something with it, and I feel like I can naturally talk about it, I'll do it. But if it's just to talk about it, and it doesn't fit my narrative of what I'm talking about, I'm not going to do it anymore. Especially when you don't see anything from it. You know what I mean? And I see so many YouTubers get on and talk about less and get hundreds of dollars. I'm trying to figure out how they do it. They'll tell people, hey, hit that like button. And the people will go do it. They'll tell people, hey, my Cash App is empty. Hit my Cash App. And they'll go do it. And I'm like, well, what the hell? Why doesn't people like me like that? You know what I mean? Last year, around this time, I was homeless. I was literally homeless. I was staying in a homeless shelter in a hotel they provided. They had rats and shit in it. I swear to God to you. And I made it through that. Prior to that, I was in another homeless shelter in another part of Connecticut. That was all right. They was kicking us out at 5 in the morning. I mean, not 5, it was like 10 in the morning at that one. And you know, you had to deal with the rest of the elements of the day. Wasn't the best of time at all. You know, I'll be out in the freezing cold some days I could make it and skirmish through the library or something like that or whatever. It was a hard time for me. And I have now been back in my own apartment now for 4 months. And priorly before that, I was out of it for what, a year and a half, some change. So yeah, man. You know, when I was messed up, I made a promise that my crew that was there when I first got on here, and I said, hey, once I get right, don't y'all think I'm going anywhere, because I'm not. I'm going to continue this on. You know what I'm saying? And I did, and I have, you know. And I had so many people say so many things to me or whatever, and I'm not pointing no fingers or whatever, but I had so many people say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that with you, I'm going to do this with you. You know what I'm saying? And they just didn't. Like, you know, a lot of them disappeared when they saw I got my apartment or whatever. And I was like, hold up, there's a whole bunch of things I still need help with. So, yeah, we're not getting on here begging or anything like that. Dudes are just on here and they're asking, thank you very much, TMH Global. And TMH Global know a factory. You know what I'm saying? He know better than anybody. I always show what I do with my money because it's only fair. You know, it's only fair to do that with people. It's only fair to do that and show people, hey, listen, man, I'm being righteous, I'm being honest, you know, and I just want to show you guys, most of the guys that on here, they don't do that. They don't do that at all. I know for a fact they don't do it. I went to their pages to look to see if they do it, and they don't. They don't even care, you know. They really don't care. So if you guys want to ever show any love, it's $STRINGERBELL 80. That's Stringer Bell 80 on Cash App. You guys go check that out, man, and hit up my Cash App, man. I appreciate it, man. Up right now. I appreciate it because I swear to God, nowadays, it's just like the worst podcasters are getting all, and I don't mean that in a way like that. I just mean like some of the people with the worst stories, the worst diatribes online, those are the people that people are donating to. And some of these guys, I mean, like, man, it's just, sometimes it's just so sickening seeing the stories and everything. I can't even tell. You see what else is in there. And you stay positive. You kept going even through the worst of the Corona-19. Thank you, man. He numbers. I would like, a lot of people don't make that I don't know why they don't make that distinction with me. I like all the stuff I was going through was during COVID-19. And so, and I mean, it's still there now. So for me to have the attitude I have right now and be the way I am, it's just like, it's great. You know what I'm saying? I hold no qualms with nobody. I'm not angry at nobody. I'm not tripping on nobody, nothing like that. I'm just being me. But at the same time, I've got things I got to do. I've got electric bill to pay. Thank God TMH Global came, like, honestly, definitely need to pay on that because without that, I don't have no heat. You know what I'm saying? So, and then there's groceries, and then there's just other things. Definitely, I need some new gear. Some of my stuff is ripping, shit like that, or whatever. I ripped my jacket, so I think I found a little way to fix that, though. I can just sew it up or something like that, maybe. But it's a pretty strong rip, and it's not really from anything more than this. It's like 3 years old now. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So I got this. I think I had this jacket or whatever. I know that might sound crazy to some of y'all or whatever, but I'm literally starting my whole life over. I lost everything, so it's not no easy pill for me. But you would think people in the music industry would want to help or see it as like, but there's no retirement fund for hip hop artists. There's no retirement fund. There's none of that for hip hop artists. It's pretty much like once it's over, you're on your own. You know what I'm saying? And I found that literally in the voices of many different people nowadays. There's a lot of people that come from the hip hop industry or whatever. If I was a chick and I wanted to get out of stripping, here goes 10,000, baby. That's one of the mistakes that men of color make. They want to put all their money towards women that after they're done with them, it's not much left. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in a bad way, because it's not all women. But I've seen this with a lot of men. They'll give tens of thousands of dollars to a stripper or for a hot night in Vegas with some chick or whatever. When you should be looking after your peers, because this is what a lot of white folks do. They look after their peers. They look after their peers. I've decided to turn the camera back the other way, but I can't tell you guys how many people I walked by that were homeless and that. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. I always feel for them. I tell anybody to see, if you watch this, because yes, a lot of people that are homeless have phones to watch YouTube. I used to have people, when I was homeless and I was vlogging, I used to have people that were homeless and be like, yo, I'm going through the same thing. So now I'm never going to stop talking for them. To be quite honest with you guys, if you're out, especially how it's been cold at nights, like I'm cold right now. If you cold how it has been at nights and you're sleeping outside, please go to a shelter. I said it before when it was snowing back a little while ago, and I'll say it again, please go to a shelter. Even if you just go there until it gets warmed up and you don't want to stay there permanently, please go to a shelter. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. You risk freezing yourself in the cold, as we've seen in a couple states or whatever, and I don't want to see that happen to you. And I'm telling you from a man that was previously homeless himself. I done did it. I done slept on the fucking train before, 2-3 nights in a row. I done been at the drop-in center, all of that. You know what I mean? Part of my story. Now, many of y'all know it wasn't always like that for me, but it's part of my story. So if you see it cold or something like that out here, and people, another thing, a lot of you vloggers should start talking about that, because that's affecting your people. You so much for the people, talk about that. That's one of the main emphasis, because this is national. It's not just New York City or Connecticut or Jersey. No, this is a national epidemic. You go to California, you look at the homeless rates out there, it's crazy. They have people out there living in these tents and everything else out there in California. My sister lives in California. She's told me stories. She doesn't even go down to LA anymore because it's so stretched out, So, and most of those people are black and Spanish, black and Latino, all of them know this. It's freaking crazy, man. And the only person they got to depend on, evidently, is only the government. Everybody, isn't that amazing how people, I remember when I was in my situation, I was homeless. I used to have people come on my lives, they'd be like, what you need to do? And they would just suggest white people. They never had a suggestion for somebody black, somebody Latino, or even them themselves. This is who you need to call. You need to call white Jesus. I don't even say it like that. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm getting at. And it was just amazing to me. I'm like, why are you telling me white entities to go to, but you don't have any of your own to point me to? Never got an answer for that. And I asked that question probably 3 or 4 times, and I never got an answer. Chat room, anywhere else. I bet you to this day, I could ask the same question and never get an answer in the chat room, anything else. And it's weird, man. It's just weird. It's just weird as hell. So, like I said, I've been through the ride. whatever. Jumped off the ride because I was tired. You know? And I went through everything that I had to do to make everything come into fruition for myself or whatever. And now that's happened, I'm happy about it. You know what I mean? I have no qualms. Let me see what time it is real quick, guys. Okay, I could do like 30 more minutes with you guys. Let me tell you something, man. And I swear to God to you this. Not only am I going to be huge here on YouTube, again, I can already smell that coming. I'm not even worried about that. Not only that, but one thing I know I'm going to do is I'm going to start making money with stuff. I've had some people do some terrible things. I've had people flag down song and all kinds of stuff or whatever. And that's what I'm saying. I can't afford to have that element in 2022. I don't mean, and when I say this, I don't mean like complaining or whatever per se or whatever. I don't mean that. What I mean is I can't have that element, meaning that just because you don't like me or whatever, my stuff get flagged or something. Like, you know, that's crazy. So I'm trying to end all that, move forward. So I don't want to go into too much of that or drain y'all out with that per se. I just wanted to talk about it, mention it real quick. That's all. Other than that, guys, I think that takes up what I pretty much had to say for the night. I hope that y'all all enjoyed what I had to say. I'm gonna try to sit this right here for a second. I hope you guys all enjoyed what I had to say for the night, my little tour I gave y'all. I figure I like to do that from time to time. Sometimes I'll just walk the city, let you guys see it, because I got people from everywhere. Hey, what do you know? That worked. What do you know? That worked. I was waiting for something like that. Now I can move freely. I was glad I was able to give y'all at least a little tour of New York or whatever. Would I suggest that you come to the New York Tri-State right now? If you are not from the New York City Tri-State area, I would not suggest that you come here as a visitor right now. And there's many different reasons for that. One of them being that we know our own. I don't care if you're from New Jersey, you're from Connecticut, you're from New York. We know our own. This little tang, this little twing in you that definitely points out that you are from the New York City Tri-State area. Make no mistake about that. You could be in Florida, you could be wherever you want to. If you're originally from the New York City Tri-State area, it's going to ring and resonate with me. I can guarantee you that. New York City is not a bad place per se right now, but it is dangerous. There's a lot of things going on in certain areas in New York City that I don't like, I had never seen before, and I'm surprised that are happening. I feel ashamed that these things are happening, more so for the point that it's affecting a lot of kids. It is. If y'all wonder what I'm doing, I'm fixing a broke cigarette right now. It's affecting a lot of kids. I spoke earlier tonight on my live, and I was talking about the thing that's happening with kids down here getting shot and stuff like that. And this is like, it's crazy, man. It's freaking crazy. And I've seen it in other cities and stuff like that. And I don't want to keep reiterating the same old thing over and over, but it really scares me because it's giving a lot of people the emphasis to say, hey, you know what, they are like that, and we're not like that. There's so many men out here busting their butt. A lot of them come and visit my channel. TMH, I know he busts his butt. A couple other men that come to my channel and frequent my channel, I know they bust their butts too. So, you know, I'm just sad to see the direction things are going. I'm scared for myself as well. Is that all right to say I'm scared for myself? I really am. I want to have kids and stuff like that. I'm scared of the world I'm going to bring with it. I'm scared of the kids they might harbor around. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? You know? You go into school with the next, shooter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just scared of this world. I'm scared of a lot of different things or whatever. One thing I ain't scared of is this whole comeback trail I'm on right now, whatever, and how I'm coming back and everything like that. Now, believe me, I am coming back. But please believe that. One way or another, whether I get it from, Black and Latin people support, or I get it from whoever support, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And my perseverance alone, I put up more videos than some of the biggest vloggers today. You know what I mean? And get no respect. And in my opinion, better quality a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? I've covered stories better than people that have gotten tens of thousands of views. And I'm like, how did he get more views? Oh, you got into the rotation quicker than me. It's okay. I know that I always blow. You know what I'm saying? I'm creative. I always blow. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about more so where the culture is going as a whole. Are we going to start caring about each other again? Are we separated right now? I mean, somebody give me some type of antithesis, some type of storyline. Yeah, that's all I'm saying to you guys. Because the way it's looking right now, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's so crazy. So crazy. All right, guys. I'm going to get off of here finally. Get my butt home. I might actually go live again tonight. I don't know. I need to get harder work. I haven't been doing any lives lately. I've just been drained. Editing videos takes me so long. Not long, but like at least a good minimum 2 hours to give y'all at least something decent to view. I find when I do them shorter than that, they don't come out that well. So, we're not going to rush the process, as they say. I'm not going to do that anymore. I did that with one video just recently, and I was like, oh, that looks like garbage. You know what I mean? I went to school for digital media, so it's like, for me, it's like, I don't know, I'm very, how can I say it? I'm very particular about like what I put out. You know what I mean? I've done edits for Remy Martin, Jacquaid, a couple other people. So for me, shout out to both of them artists. And I don't mean for them personally. I was contracted by them. I just mean their events, video shoots, etc., that have gotten tens of thousands of views. You know what I mean? So ain't no qualms about it. I ain't no New Jack out here. You know what I mean? But I've had fun, and as we get back into filming and covering my story and what happened to me and whatever, put it into a form where audiences can view it and hopefully enjoy it. It's a process with that too, so that's what we're planning right now. But the comeback is serious, trust me on that. There's going to be a lot of people that didn't want to work with me right now. Then in the future going to wish they had worked with me, you know what I mean? In fact, I can even guarantee you a couple of you are going to come to me asking me to give you a job. I can guarantee you that. I'll look you in your camera and look you in the face right now and tell you that. A lot of you are going to ask me to hire you. Trust me on this. My name's Professional for a reason. It's always been that. You can ask Sean Prez that. You can ask anybody up there at that office at Bad Boy Entertainment. They knew me as Professional. I always come back. But to the people that are supporting me and have been supporting me, when that moment I did get back, don't think I'm going to forget you, because I'm not. I'm not. So guys, I'm going to get out of here. Get in the house. I might go back live again once I get in home, and I might not. But one time you can't guarantee I'll be back with you guys sooner than later. And I appreciate all you guys hanging in with me. We've done the whole 2 hours tonight. I just want to talk a little bit more about togetherness and having some emphasis on communication moving forward. Guys, my name is Davin Lewis. I appreciate y'all checking in with me. I hope you liked the diatribe that I had. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Please leave comments if you agreed or disagreed with anything I had to say tonight. And more importantly enough, just like every other YouTuber does, please donate, support my channel, just like everybody else. It's $STRINGERBELL 80. That's Stringer Bell 80. Also, there's a PayPal link that will be in the pinned comment in the comment section. But please chime in, leave your comments, tell me what you think. Other than that, guys, have a good night from New York City, and I will talk to you soon.